The morning at Buck Island Lake felt almost completely opposite from what we'd experienced on the trail the day before. Things were calm. The Sierras looked majestic and inviting, with no malice or threat of broken axles. And the lake was incredible. The water was calling to all three of us, and it was a call we'd have to answer later in the day. But for now, our morning at camp was focused on preparing for another challenging day on the trail. Well, good morning. It is a perfect morning. It's like we're in the Rubicon Matrix or something. There's like hardly any bugs. The temperature is absolutely perfect. It's quiet, relatively quiet forest. I mean, wow, what a great night. What a fantastic morning. We're about to hit the trail. Our goal today is to make it to Rubicon Springs. And I think on the map it's less distance, although we don't know what that means on the Rubicon. It could be less distance and take longer, who knows. And so we're gonna be heading out here in just a few minutes. We're basically packed up. We're just doing a check underneath of the rigs just to see if anything came loose. We need to retorque, anything like that. We got this nice little rock over here that we're kind of taking turns propping the Jeeps up on so we can get under there and just take a quick look, see if everything's okay. I imagine everything's okay for me because I've got the metal cloak skid plates underneath, but Lance found something. I'm gonna go check in with Chris, see if he found anything. And after we get that check done, we're gonna hit the trail and keep this thing going. Rubicon Day 2! So you've been under the Bronco looking at potential damage. What have you found?
Everything looks amazing. I mean, it's taken damage so well. It's crazy.
Look, I had a dream last night that all my control arm bolts were popping out.
That is such a dream you'd have on the Rubicon.
Yeah, it was. Like the bolts were literally dangling and people were like, oh, it's fine. Keep your fingers crossed, everything's okay.
Chris, you find anything?
No, actually, well, my factory skids are a little bit deformed, but I guess they've been renovated.
Rubicon renovations.
Yeah.
If you like broken stuff, it's the place to shop.
So no, it's funny because there's a few places where metal's been ground down a little bit, but not anything that's gonna cause any failures or anything like that that I can see.
Lance and I propped up the 392 on a shelf rock to get easy access to the underside of the Jeep.
Right there.
Take that as a no.
Nah, dude, I can't hear a thing.
Oh, hey, let me do it again. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't hear anything down here. Looks good to me.
Even after all the banging, scraping, clanging, and knocking from the day before, Finnegan just had a few scrapes. So we headed back to the granite rocks of the Rubicon. We were in really good spirits thinking that we had done some pretty hard stuff so far and had leveled up our driving, which was true, but the Rubicon wasted no time letting us know there was a lot more to come. We have a sign here that says, ladies one direction, men the other, even though I get the joke, even though I think ladies wheel just as good as men do, but it's basically like, take the easy road and be a wuss, or take the hard road and be macho. And I'm telling you, that looks like just not the way I want to start my morning.
I think there are probably plenty of women who could do that run no problem. Okay, well, let me know if I'm about to do something stupid. Time for that is long gone.
And just 5 minutes from camp, we ran into a group of wheelers in the middle of a trail fix. One that, quite frankly, looked like it could happen to anyone at any point on this trail. So yeah, what's going on, dude?
I'm trying to crawl up one of these rocks, and it snapped the drag link right at the ball. So we just took it off and we're gonna load it back up. Hopefully it works.
So this is like as I'm finding out when we got to camp here, like a pretty common sound and sight, like people like getting here and then fixing their rigs when they get here.
Yeah, well, try not to fix the rig, just you don't have to.
yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta continue on the trail. So
yeah,
we came out that way and we went Cadillac Hill and then we're going back.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I was just driving this way real quick and then went up the rock and snapped it.
It happens so fast, man. It happens so fast. Well, good luck, dude.
Thank you.
And on literally the same rock that snapped his tie rod, Chris cut his diff.
Guys, I think I'm turtled.
So Chris, We're just driving over the dam, man. What happened?
That happened. Dragging a diff.
You got no traction in the front?
No.
Are you locked up?
Chris was turtled on his rear diff, which meant he was basically high-centered with no traction on his tires. Any contact with the ground he had was light and powdery dirt, which gave no purchase to his tires. So we decided to grab line from Finnegan to pull him back off the rock.
Well, this is a good moment to plug quality recovery gear. So Factory 55 is a great sponsor of the channel, and they have a whole kit in the Sawtooth recovery bag. It's got basically everything you need for stuff like this. So it's got soft shackles and D-rings, and all this stuff that when you're doing just a little bit of recovery work, it won't break on you.
Ready when you are.
You in neutral?
In neutral.
Okay, I'm tightening the winch line, and I'm pulling.
I have the Warn VR Eva 10 winch, which has pulling power of 10,000 pounds, and Chris's Jeep fully loaded is probably around 5,000 pounds. So even without using a snatch block to increase the pulling power, I had no trouble getting him off that rock.
Well, that was pretty easy. Took us about, I don't know, 3 minutes. Yep. You're unstuck. Right. And that, folks, is good morning from the Rubicon Trail. Well, it's a heck of a way to start the morning. It's like, wake up, drive 100 yards from camp, and wham! We're pulling winch, we're scraping diffs, we're climbing straight up rock walls. I guess at this point I'd expect nothing less from the Rubicon.
Whether we were ready or not, the Rubicon was already pushing us beyond what we'd done the day before. We thought we were in for a nice drive along a beautiful lake, but what we got were bigger rocks, harder obstacles, and one very big reality check.
Just like the fajita, I write what I live, my life in the speaker. I'm nice with the flow, just like the demeanor. I feed my fam, I'm feeding the meter.
Easy peasy, man. No problem. That was great. Good driving.
Yeah, well, great spotting too. So thanks, guys, for holding my hand yet again.
I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot, I'm coming in hot.
We were literally only about 1,000 feet from where we started this morning, but they say constraint drives innovation, and we weren't about to tuck our tails and run, so we leaned in and worked the trail with each other. And what we started learning was that what seemed ridiculous in any other setting was starting to feel normal on the Rubicon. Even the wide B-Raptor with its IFS was being pushed, but was able to handle the stretch of the trail.
Bravo.
Bravo.
The three of us felt a bit like we'd been punched in the face this morning. The sun was starting to get hot, and we were all covered with dust. But after a few more climbs, we found ourselves on a granite slab overlooking the lake and realized we were on vacation.
Okay, we have made a last-minute change of plans. We just noticed that there's no one else here. Everyone has left. And this is a beautiful area, beautiful lake. And so we're going to go swimming. And then we'll see about running the rest of the Rubicon. Woo! Whew, that was awesome. We swam that little island over there and just hung out for, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. The water is like one of the warmest mountain lakes I've ever swam in. It's probably like, I don't know, like 65 degrees, Chris?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, 65 degrees, just feels like so refreshing. Not bitter cold like you'd expect. This is a total win. Great idea. So glad we did this. And I'm clean now too, cleaner. So now we're gonna head back up to the rigs, maybe have a little lunch, and get back on the trail.
We had effectively gone nowhere today. We were about 2,000 feet from where we started, and after the slow start, winching, and maneuvering, it had been about 5 hours. Now, some folks watching this might think that's ridiculous, and they might be right, but we were going slow on purpose, being careful, and most importantly, having a really good time.
How close am I on my passenger?
Not close. Got inches. You're good.
The thing about this section of trail is that there aren't even any named obstacles. This is just the space between Buck Island Lake and Big Sluice. A lot of trails are rated for their toughest obstacles, but we were finding on the Rubicon, everything felt like an 8 out of 10. So even though we'd practiced on tougher obstacles, it was really just a few at a time. So this felt like a conveyor belt of problems to solve.
Are you good?
I think so.
Chris, you want to try to get a really wide turn here because it's a tight squeeze between two boulders.
And this is when we discovered that the obstacles we'd done this morning were just a warm-up for the few that were next.
I don't know how deep this drop is.
If Fins and Things in Moab feels like a Disney ride, these felt more like a Rickety County Fair carnival ride. While 32 degrees of pitch was a new record for me, Finnegan held strong and came down with no problems. Chris made his peace with God and followed down the boulder, but his JKU Ripley also did great. And this is the moment when I think I started to lose my mind. Obstacles stopped looking hard to me. In fact, I started looking for harder and harder lines to the point that I left the main trail just to try the hard way. For fun, I guess.
So I'm not sure what this obstacle is called. It looks kind of gnarly, and I might be making a big mistake here, but I'm gonna try to drive it because I don't know. I don't even know why. I think something's like I'm catching the bug right now or something.
So, for better or worse, I gave it a shot.
Now I can't see any rocks. So all I'm doing is watching Lance. Ooh, and Lance almost fell. I thought I was coming up on this line. I thought this was gonna be too steep. Do you think I'm gonna make this?
You're gonna come, I'm gonna turn you. Fast. Watch.
Okay. Telling me that you got a way up.
Your rear passenger control arm is on that big rock. Oh, sliding over. You're about to hit your drive line.
Am I hitting the drive line?
You're very close. Yeah, you are. You're rubbing it. Okay, you're off of it now.
Drive shaft.
He was on the drive shaft, yeah. Like actually right at the yoke.
Yeah, not a good place.
No, no.
Okay, I'm gonna try it. Let me come up on this side, Lance. I think that's the easier one.
We had a miscommunication.
I thought you convinced me not to do this line.
Your tie rod. Can't come forward. Go back. Turn this way. Turn passenger. Out track. There you go.
Yikes. Yeah, I think I need to drive around to that spot. Okay. Oh baby. Woo! This is feeling a little spicy. Worry about that bumper.
Bumper's not gonna
All right. Nice. Okay, let's try this again.
All that work was just so I could back down and try again from the other side.
Okay, take two.
This time I was coming up on a line that had shorter ledges and therefore less opportunities to scrape or break anything on the way up.
Just watching Lance.
The tricky part in getting up were the ruts lined with jagged rocks that seemed to be trying to puncture my sidewalls. There was also a sharp left-hand turn, which I needed to back up in order to make.
He's got about 0 inches. Actually, you're gonna fall.
It's okay, I can do it from here.
Yeah, you'll just very gently drop. Okay, there you go.
Luckily, my Nitto trail grapplers have great sidewalls and plenty of grip to get me through rocks like this.
I made it to the top of the rock. Now it's just about getting off the rock.
This is one of those moments when you think to yourself, have I lost my mind? And as I said earlier, the answer is maybe I had. And maybe the 32-degree pitch I'd come down earlier gave me some extra fortitude. But as my tires stretched down this rock formation, I felt cool, calm, and had a smile on my face. Even though I was now hanging off of a cliff, dangling by my diff.
Oh, I see his pumpkin. There it is. It's your pumpkin.
At this point, I became grateful to my friends who allowed me to make bad choices from time to time in the name of fun.
I see you smiling, that's a good sign.
Good friends on the trail truly make all the difference.
Oh man, dude, that was awesome.
Nice drive.
We did it.
Nice
I was thinking that was probably a bad decision at some point, but once you're on top, you gotta just come down.
Yeah, you gotta do. Yeah, you're coming down one way or the other.
Yeah, yeah. You guys were awesome spotting. I love that you guys were consulting a little bit, and
yeah,
you know, I felt very taken care of. So, thanks, dude.
All my friends are heathens, take it slow.
Wait a minute, where's your cigar?
Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse.
Okay, so we have a change of plans. Instead of doing big sluice today and going to Rubicon Springs, we have decided that we just found an awesome campsite on the lake, at the very end of the lake. There's nobody around. It's off the trail enough that we're not going to get bothered by people coming by the trail. And it's really hot and we're tired. We're gonna call this serendipity, and we're gonna go with it. And I cannot wait to show you this campsite, and I cannot wait to put my feet in the water and just literally chill. Okay, we got everybody in, got everybody level. I thought I was gonna be back here next to the water, but it was just too hard to get level. So I moved my Jeep kind of in front of the other guys, and it's level now, and now I can just relax.
Buck Island Lake sits at about 6,000 feet in elevation just north of the Desolation Wilderness area. It's a man-made lake built back in 1963 primarily for creating hydroelectricity and is fed by the Rubicon River via the Rubicon Reservoir and Rockbound Lake. It's one of the most beautiful mountain lakes I've ever seen. There are granite islands popping out of the water, making me wish I had brought my paddleboard. It's surrounded by the 8,000 and 9,000 foot peaks of the Sierra Nevadas, which gives it a secluded feeling you can only find way up in the mountains. We had a campsite on the western edge of the lake, and we're all more than happy to trade in a long day driving over rocks for sitting in the shade on the waterfront.
I just think it's cool that like this is also the Rubicon. Like it's hard driving, it's rock crawling, it's, you know, just all of the things that we expected it to be, but it's also this, which is amazing.
While Chris and I sat around doing nothing, Lance was busy making dinner, which was steaks, again. And we were not complaining about it.
Lance, perfect. Okay. We hang out with him for more reasons than just how good he cooks steak, but it's really nice that he cooks steak so well.
After dinner, we still had a lot of daylight left, so we decided to hike the first part of the trail we'd be driving tomorrow and see what we'd be in for the next day. So because we got in early tonight, we decided to just take a little time and walk the trail. So we're on Big Sluice right now. We just have walked down here and we're just checking it out. So far, it's been pretty easy, it looks like. I hesitate to say those words, but I think we can kind of scoot through the first quarter mile or so. And then this stuff's getting a little interesting. But, you know, looking at this, it's this shape of this rock is actually not bad at all because it's so slanted. This is the sluice hairpin, and it does look a little gnarly. Got a boulder field to navigate here, so this will probably slow us down a little bit. You can see these rocks, like some of them you can tell, like, okay, this is a problem rock because there's clearly a bunch of scraping. That's a problem rock.
And then we're gonna be on driver's side tire on all this.
Oh, I see. Now it's getting interesting. Around the corner here, I see more just kind of freestanding boulders. So that looks a little gnarly, but it looks like there's a path through there. Yeah. I mean, what we're learning about rock crawling is that it's not about dodging the rocks. It's about getting your tires on top of the biggest rocks that will give you the most clearance to get through the little rocks that will catch your undercarriage, so to speak. Kind of a pain in the butt, as we found out this morning around the dam, winching Chris out. It's like it only takes one little rock to catch and you're stuck.
Yeah, or two little rocks. If you kind of look back, like it's still not
It looks pretty mild.
It's a rocky road.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a rocky road.
But up ahead, we have some significant boulders, and it looks like you kind of have to weave between them a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, this one looks like a tight squeeze.
In the Raptor, that's going to be super tight.
You can tell there's tire marks on both sides, which means that
yeah,
it's a tight squeeze. Yeah, but I don't see a lot of paint marks.
No.
That's good. There's a little scrapage there, but that's not too bad. Yeah. Little scrapage there. That's not too bad. Whew. So here's a big boulder I have to avoid, but you know, there's plenty of room to drive around these things. It's just, you know, it just gives you a little bit of less room for error as you're going by. You don't want to lean into one of these boulders. It almost looks like someone dropped these boulders here. It looks like they've been placed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the big ones?
Yeah. It almost looks like a landscaping project from the Rubicon Trail Foundation or something. So the other cool thing about this part of the trail that we're seeing, because we're like actually walking it, we can like look up a little bit, is that the terrain has changed, the forest has changed. There's these mossy trees or moss growing on the bark of these trees. It's just beautiful, and one of the reasons it's beautiful is because it's so different than what we've seen so far. And we've got relatively thick forests. We've been seeing a lot of granite, kind of sparsely forested mountains and things, and so this feels very different.
That's lichen.
It's not moss.
No. And
it's lichen. It's lichen moss.
It's a great fire starter. It
looks lichen moss.
It's called Old Man's Beard.
Oh, okay.
Good fire starter.
The more you know. Okay, we're looking into the woods this way.
So look into the woods this way.
Yeah.
And then look into the woods this way.
It's growing on what, the shady side, you think?
So it's north side of the tree.
Oh, interesting.
So when you're lost and you don't have a compass because you're an idiot, that's one thing you can use to help guide your way.
For those of you who don't know, Lance is a true mountain man who lives off of 2 sticks and a paperclip. So we've just come up to what's called Sawtooth.
But dude, look at, like...
Yeah, there's some scraping.
Diff.
I don't want to underplay this because we're not driving it. And I kind of get why they call it Sawtooth, because it's some jagged-ish rocks. Maybe they made it look like a little bit of a sawtooth, but I thought it was going to be like a major obstacle.
The line is right here.
Yeah.
Like, it's not over here.
You could definitely catch something if you tried to take the ruts, but it doesn't, honestly, based on like the quarter mile that we drove today in 3 hours, this doesn't look like that big of a problem, but time will tell when we drive it tomorrow. Okay, I see why this is more of an obstacle now that I walked down and I'm looking back up. There are some drops that look like they could throw you off camber if you're not careful. So going on. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. You know, I should not underestimate some of these things. I'm probably downplaying it too much. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. All right, we're kind of at the end of Old Sluice now. I think it empties out into this spring. Maybe there's like a little trickle of water flowing down here.
Yeah, that's a spring right there.
Yeah, into.
That's what's feeding this.
This section of trail that looks like it's all underwater. So the cool thing is everybody loves water crossings, and that's going to be awesome. The scary thing is you don't know what's under there. Like there could be some things, you know, that you don't, it could be deeper than you know. Anyway, it'd be interesting. And then it looks like there's some interesting stuff on the other side of that. Well, we're going to head back to camp now. But I'm so glad we got a chance to walk this section of trail. It gives me so much more confidence tomorrow just because I have seen it. I've got eyes on it. This whole trail, every single rock is a new discovery for us. And so just having a little bit of context for the day tomorrow, I think is going to be really helpful. But for now, we're going to head back to camp and call it a night. Lance, you have something to show me?
That's moss.
Back at camp, we had a whiskey, talked about the trail, and watched the moon rise over the lake. So far, this trail, this experience, had exceeded our expectations in almost every aspect. It was harder than we thought it would be, but it was also more beautiful than we imagined. And while we'd all three become better drivers over the past 2 days, nothing could have prepared us for the day to come.
I'm coming in hot.